Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast, back for another edition, talking our favorite sport, baseball. I'm Jeff. This is
Jana, the little sister.
And we've got a lot going on. We were just kind of going through it in our heads. What do we have to do? So let's not mess around with it. First, though, find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And then, of course, you can find us on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. If you haven't seen them yet, the Armed Forces Day hats look kind of sharp. And they are available there along with the Mets and their City Connects, which they have already been wearing. And I think we've got a new team coming up. Those will probably be available there too. So hit the Fanatics links and get whatever gear you need, baseball or otherwise. As we talked about this season, the issue with uniform and the fact that they're sweaty, they got big sweat stains on them, the names are too small on the back. It makes it all about MLB and Nike more than it does the teams, and other issues, mismatched coloring between the jerseys and the pants falling apart or being see-through. So yeah, lots going on, and it looks like maybe something's going to happen. However, there is something, and we'll talk about that as we go through this, that alerted me after I read the story about this.
Okay. Yeah, so finally, MLB has listened and heard the complaints about the new jerseys this season. The union, MLBPA, the Players Association, they've been complaining about them for, I think that they had concerns before they were even introduced. So this is a long time coming. These uniforms were introduced at the AllStar Game last year, and it was the new fabric that they had, and that fabric is going to stay, I think, from what I understand. But how does that work with the sweat problem? Because the fabric, I thought, was supposed to be like a moisture wicking.
It's supposed to take the moisture away from the body. The problem is that it pulls up on the jersey itself, is what the players are saying.
Right.
So it looks like you got big sweat spots all over the place.
Yeah. And we've heard a lot about, it's Fanatics' fault. It's their fault. They're the ones that have messed this up. But MLBPA has come out and said it is not Fanatics' fault. They just manufactured. They were given the specifications. They just made them. Right. The materials come to them from Nike or from Nike's supplier. And the Fanatics makes the jerseys in the same place that the Majestic jerseys were made, because they bought out Majestic. Right. So it's not like they changed it, moved it to a new and got a new automated system or did something. It's the same procedures. Same procedures. And MLBPA said Nike was innovating something that didn't need to be innovated. Right. And so the see-through pants, obviously, you can see where, especially when they're wearing the home whites, where, you can see their shirts tucked in on some of the teams more so than others, like the Mariners. Those are very transparent. I mean, and I don't understand why the difference, but apparently something about the Seattle air.
maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. That you mentioned the lettering is smaller on the back for their names, so you can totally see a huge difference on the back of the jerseys before and what they have now. And that is, I think that's a big deal, because if you're buying a jersey, especially of a player, you want the bigger lettering. And I'm sure the guys wearing the jerseys want the bigger lettering. And I bet the guys in the booth want the bigger lettering just in
especially
case.
For the guys that they don't know. Some of
right.
them you know by the number, you know by how they look. When you see Mike Trout out there, if he doesn't have number 27 on, you still know it's Mike Trout.
Exactly.
But the guy who just came up from AAA, you may not know him, readily. And you're right. I think even bigger than any of it is from the fan standpoint. If I'm going out to buy the jersey of my favorite player, I want it to be up there. I want to represent that. I'm spending big money on a jersey so that I can support, whoever.
Right. And those jerseys are not cheap.
No. If you get an authentic jersey, you're paying close to $400 these days. I mean, just every year it seems to go up by $50-$60.
Right.
And so you're paying a lot of money for an authentic jersey. You want to have, you don't want to have a big Nike logo and then your team's name. The team names haven't gotten smaller, but still it's like fighting for the front of the jersey. Yeah. And then on the back, I want the name in big, in the big name. I want Ohtani across there where everybody can see it, or smaller names like Trout. Trout's name seems to be so small on the back of his jersey. You know?
I think the more letters, the smaller it looks. Not that Trout's a big name, but it does have,
right.
More.
But when you're used to seeing Trout just a little bit bigger, and now it looks a lot smaller. And more letters does look even smaller. Right. But any of them.
I haven't seen what Cronenworth looks like. I bet it doesn't have to go from shoulder to shoulder like it did before.
But see, that would have been like, hey, yours is big. We want to make sure it's on there. It's easy to get on. We're going to, smaller letters across to get the whole thing. But, or any long name like that. But even then, it fit on his jersey before. Why do we have to change it up now?
Exactly. Also, before with the pants, it was at spring training or even before spring training, they would get all of the measurements of the players, and the players could have the pants tailored a certain way, because some players like to wear their pants tight. I'm thinking of like Bobby Miller and Walker Buehler,
Kike
Hernandez. Yes, but then you have other guys, Manny Machado, who have like lounge pants on. It seems like.
Right.
So
he likes them baggy.
So there's that. And then there also was an issue with the zipper. I guess they went lower quality on the zipper, and now they are going to say, no, we're doing a higher quality.
We're going back
zipper.
to the zipper we had before.
Exactly.
Right. And that's Tony Clark, who is the MLBPA head, said back in spring, after talking to the players during their regular meetings, he said universal concern is the pants. That was in spring training.
Right. And people were noticing it. Like fans were like, okay, these pants are a little wild. They're, for one, they've ripped on several occasions when people have been sliding in to a base, and and they just some of them are more see-through than others. And then there's also the issue of the mismatching gray uniforms,
right,
and not having the same color. the uniform color of gray. So,
but it was within variance.
It was, but it didn't look right. And I did notice Bryce Harper, he had an old jersey on from last year because his name was a lot bigger. He was like, I don't care, I'm wearing my old jersey.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so the players are talking out about it. The players have had issues, the fans have had issues. There's teams that are having to hold off on their City Connects because they're not getting the shipments on time. Now, some of that we heard was they ordered them on to be delivered. They needed them by a certain date,
right?
And as long as they had them before, and then they push something up. Well, that's not that's not Fanatics' fault on when it gets there, or Nike's fault, or anybody there. But the idea of the quality of the shoes. Brandon Nimmo from the Mets just said recently they've been unable to wear their black and blue uniforms because they don't have the right pants. They haven't shown up. Well, if you've got part of the uniform, you should have all of the uniform.
Right.
This is his quote. There's a serious problem when a $13 billion industry is having a tough time getting pants from a worldwide industry that is supposed to be the forefront of apparel and whatnot.
Yes.
Brandon Nimmo.
Totally agree with that. Now, all of this is happening. MLB has listened. They have heard the complaints. So you're like, okay, things are going to change. This season, no, it will not be until the 2025 season.
Well, they say by the 2025 season.
That's right.
But that's the same thing that I was saying. There's a caveat there.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to probably happen this season. So just get used to this. This will be the season of the mixed match and below average uniforms.
Yes.
And we'll look back at it as that this season, whatever disasters there were, hopefully it's not. They overshadow, something bigger will happen to overshadow the uniform thing, or something great will happen that will make everybody forget about it, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's really noticeable though, when, especially like the sweat thing.
Yeah.
It's really noticeable.
And you figure we're now starting to get into warmer temperatures everywhere.
Yes.
So as that gets warmer and warmer and you get to places where it's hot and humid and not playing inside, it's going to come back. It's going to get you. And they're going to have a bigger, that gray variance is going to be off because those away jerseys are going to be dark gray because of the sweat.
Exactly. So I guess good on MLB for finally listening to the players. They don't often do that, but I think that they could start doing things now, but
right.
Maybe not.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
I'm not sure what the Dodgers are thinking about the uniforms. I'm sure they have their complaints and that. Hadn't really paid attention. When they start off the season, you're like, hey, if your uniforms aren't matching up, who cares? Because look at the way you're playing. Then we thought we were going to be having these big thunderous downpours of the sky is falling. And it seems like maybe it was just brief. Because as you remember, even though they got beat 2 out of 3 by the Mets, the last one, they took it to the Mets 10-0 and looked pretty good. And then they hit the road to go to D.C. And lucky for them, they don't have to deal with the politicians when they're there that we're aware of. I'd rather deal with the Nationals myself, even though they just beat you. So we head to Nationals Park for the first of 3. And Dodgers would send James Paxton to the mound for game 1.
Yeah, and in this game, James Paxton, we've seen him. He only went 4 2/3 innings in this game. He gave up 3 walks, continues to give up more walks than he should. And he's only going, I think he's only gone, 5 innings in all of his starts? I don't know that he's gone 6 this season.
Maybe
maybe
one,
maybe once.
Right. But yeah, pretty much he's been just a 5-inning guy.
Yeah, just a
And
five
this
inning
time
guy.
he wasn't even that. He was a third of an inning short.
Yeah. So, but bullpen issues we talked about last week. Brewster Gratterall is still out, and he actually was on a throwing program. They pulled that back. Blake Trinan, though, is doing rehab, and from what I've heard reports, that doesn't look bad in the rehab. But Michael Grove, Alex Vesia, Daniel Hudson all kept the Nats scoreless, and then Evan Phillips also was in there too as the closer. Shohei Ohtani had never been to Nationals Park. This was his first visit.
Oh, okay, that'd be right. Yeah.
And he hit a 450-foot home run. It was the hardest hit of his career at 118.7 miles per hour. And the look on his teammates' face was like they were in awe. Couldn't believe that he hit that ball the way he hit it. And that home run was the hardest hit home run for a Dodger player in the StatCast era, and StatCast started in 2015.
Crazy.
I know. It is crazy. The Dodgers go on to win the game 4-1.
Perfect. They did good. Just to answer the question, 6 innings versus Minnesota.
Okay.
Back on April 8th.
All right. I thought there was at least once.
It's been of his starts, he's had 5. I'm sorry, that was 4 starts, and that one was the shortest of them. It was 5, 6, 5, and then 4 2/3.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So James Paxton hasn't been bad for the Dodgers when he's pitched, but eating up innings so far has not happened. And I feel like, especially as we go on and we look at the bullpen, we really need the starters to at least go 6, if not 7, I think would be the goal.
Right. I think so too.
So Dodgers had 9 hits in that game. Go to the next game, and Dodgers win this game 11-2, 20 hits in this game. And Landon Knack, who was called up the week before, gets his first major league win. He goes 6 innings, gives up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, has 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, and then gives up a home run. And the bullpen does look good with Ryan Brazier and Ryan Yarbrough.
No,
So far, bullpen looks good. And of course, with 20 hits, you have to look at, you have Shohei, who had 3 doubles in this game. 3. Mm-hmm. He was 3 for 6. Mookie was 4 for 6. Andy Pages has been so great coming up and just playing ball. It almost seems like, a lot of times you have guys come up that get called up and they don't do well. I think Jackson Holliday is a good example of that.
Yeah, from the Orioles.
But Andy Pages has just been playing and hitting.
Well, and it took him a couple of games to get in. Of course, his very first at bat was a hit.
Yeah.
First pitch, first hit. And then it seemed like that was it. And then, but it just took him a little time. He got there. He's getting the playing time. He's getting the runway.
Yes.
As we always say, or as Doc always says. And he's making the most of it.
Yeah,
he had 3 hits in that game. Our favorite punching bag, Gavin Lux, even had 2 hits in the game.
I know.
And then
Pages, as one of his hits, was a home run.
Right, a double and a home run in that. Like you said, 3 doubles for Shohei, 4 hits for Mookie, 4 hits for Will Smith, who is up. He and Mookie and Shohei are all in the top 10 batting average for MLB.
And I think the biggest surprise for people, because I think he's underrated as not only as a hitter, but also as a catcher, and that is Will Smith. I don't think people thought, he's, when they looked at it, it's Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, and then the rest of the guys.
Yeah, no,
And
he's
they
definitely.
didn't look at Smith.
When those three guys get on base, if Shohei or Freddie don't get Mookie in, because Mookie's been getting on a lot, there's Will. Or if they can all three get on, Will's been in a spot to drive in the run. And then if we've got you've got Pajes is hitting well at the bottom. Even Hernandez, Teoscar, not Kike, but Teoscar Hernandez, who has had some ups and some downs, but he when he gets hot, he's kind of towards that middle bottom. That's what they need. They need to be able to get those first guys on, and then even if Will Smith can't get it done, then maybe Max Muncy, Hernandez, Pajes can get it done as we get down towards the bottom of the order.
Yeah. So Dodgers, with the 2-game wins, win the series, but there's still another game. They end up winning the series, sweeping the Nationals, and in Nationals Park, they win 2-1. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is on the mound. He gives 6 shutout innings, and he caught a ball that was a liner, and it was coming right at him. And I think it was just instinct that he just put his glove up, and it went right into his glove. And so when the trainer and Dave Roberts came out to check on him, he told Dave Roberts, "I almost died." So, which I can imagine you're thinking, but he was okay. And he went on, like I said, to pitch 6 shutout innings, gave up 4 hits, only 1 walk, and seven strikeouts. So, and then I don't know if we've talked about this, but last year it was 10 strikeouts for Jumbo Jack. And this year it's only 7. So Yamamoto
did it alone.
Did it all himself.
Carried the weight for the team. And here's the thing. People keep overreacting to that. He gives up a hit or two. People are like, oh, you wasted your money on him. But this guy's a guy who I think I read somewhere, and maybe this has changed since I saw it, but since his opening, his first game, his first start in Korea, he's had like a 2 ERA. His
he's
ERA
consistently getting better.
Right, and it keeps going down. He's not, he's had his moments, and if you look, maybe he gave up, a bunch of those hits all at one time, and then he settled down and no hit him the rest of the way, or 1 run here, 1 run there, but he's not walking people. And that's come back to haunt some of the other Dodger pitchers during that little losing streak that they had. So, yeah, I think you just got to sit back. You got to watch him go. And you got to remember, too, everybody's going to have their days where they're off. Some are going to work worse than others. Some are going to be worse than others. But it's going to happen.
And when he caught that ball, I didn't know this, but he was like a 2-time, 3-time winner in Japan of, guess what? The Golden Glove.
The Golden Glove.
Like I always like to say when we get to the awards.
It's actually
there
the
really
Golden
is
Glove.
one. Yes, I was so excited to hear.
So you've been handing out the wrong award.
Yes, from Japan.
All this time.
Yes. Just the wrong the wrong country.
Right.
So, yes. So Dodgers get out of DC with a sweep, and maybe they just needed some time away from home.
Maybe
they needed to get away from LA.
Well, isn't that what Chicago, the band said? Everybody needs a little time away.
Yes, I heard you say. That's right.
Well, I heard her say, but somebody
I know,
else
but I just heard you say.
We got to make it work for what we're doing here.
Exactly. All right. So this time, Shohei really was on a plane to Toronto. And Toronto fans were not happy with him as he came up to bat in the first inning. They booed him in this first game. And he hit a home run.
But why? Well, he's not the one who put out that rumor.
Right.
His dog, who was a decoy, didn't go there just to throw people off.
Right. Well, Steven Nelson, who was on the broadcast for Sportsnet LA, he said that he was talking to like a counterpart Sportsnet Canada guy. And he said, oh, they're not really booing Shohei. They're booing the Blue Jays because, or, the front office because they didn't get Shohei. Right. But conveniently when Shohei comes to bat.
Well, because if they had done it right, they would have been able to get him.
Right.
And when Shohei came to bat, they would be cheering. Would they just be cheering Shohei? Would they also be cheering the front office?
Right. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't know Canadians booed. I thought they were much more.
Yeah. I thought they were more polite. But they still booed and he hit a home run. So, but the best part.
Yeah.
The best part is he goes into the dugout and you see him, they're all high-fiving him, his teammates, but he's laughing because his teammates are booing him. So I thought that was great. And I love seeing Shohei. We're seeing a totally different side of him playing with the Dodgers just in this month of baseball than I think we ever did with the Angels.
Well, I think.
And I think we know why.
Had he been unencumbered.
Yes.
With the Angels, maybe we would have seen the same thing.
Right. I think
we still saw him playing good baseball.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, being more a part of the team.
Yes.
Which he wasn't as much
right.
In Anaheim. So the story goes.
Exactly.
Something you mentioned a little bit ago happened in this game, courtesy of Gavin Stone.
7 innings. And this is the best part is they show in the dugout and they give us stats, 6 innings and, 6 innings and however many runs and all this. And I was thinking he needs to go another inning. And sure enough, they gave it to him. They let him go out. And I think it was really positive for him to have that opportunity to pitch 7 innings. He only gave up 2 hits in this game, 1 earned run, and then 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. One of those hits was a home run. But the Dodgers go on to win this game 12-2. He had really good offensive help throughout this game. That makes it, I don't know if it makes it a little bit easier for him to pitch because it may not. If you have a lot of runs, does it make it easier or does it make you more on your game because you don't want to mess this up?
He said after the game that it was nice having a lead because then he could take a couple of risks, throwing a couple of different pitches and not feel like, oh, I'm about to let this all go. And it gave him some more confidence in that, which I think is important because he's got to be able to figure out if he can throw certain pitches that he's not as confident in or is a newer pitch to try to get people out with, because the having 2 or 3 out pitches definitely will work in his favor.
Yeah, I think that is really true. Will Smith and Max Muncy also hit home runs in this game. And then Nick Ramirez came in and pitched 2 innings, and the Dodgers win this game 12-2. So continuing their offensive onslaught from D.C., going across the border and doing it in Toronto at Rogers Center. Next game, Tyler Glasnow is on the mound.
Cross the border.
Dodgers win this game 4-2. A little bit of concern in the Tyler Glasnow ends up pitching 6 innings. I'm sure he wanted to pitch more, but he was having issues with cramping in his hand. And I think he also said in his calf. And this is what I was thinking about with the uniforms. You could see it. He said it was humid inside Rogers Center. And I'm thinking, did they not have I don't know what it's like in Rogers Center, but to think there should be air conditioning, I would guess, but what's it like
Well, that doesn't mean
outside?
that it's not going to get humid
Humid,
because
right.
depending on and do they not have a humidor inside Rogers Center?
Yeah, I don't know. So he said that was the issue, and he has had it before. His brother has had it before, and he kind of got away from where he was more preventative about it, so it didn't happen. So now he said he's going to be back to drinking pickle juice and, maybe doing the IV that you can get, and before he has that, because when he came out, it was like, oh, please don't let anything happen to Tyler Glass now. We already have Bobby Miller on the IL right now. Emmett Stone is out, and he's been out since
That'd be
before.
Sheehan.
Sheehan, sorry. I got Stone in my head, but yeah, Emmett Sheehan. And
Because of Gavin or because of Ben Stone? Because I know you've been watching a lot of Law and Order.
Yes, no, because we had just been talking about Gavin. But Tyler Glasnow looks really good, has 9 strikeouts in this game. And Evan Phillips gets his 8th save. Mookie Betts is 3 for 5. Smith is 1 for 5. Ohtani 1 for 5. With the Betts had RBI, Ohtani has RBIs. It just they looked good.
So we're halfway through the series because it was a 4-game series.
In Toronto?
Was it?
No, it's a 3-game series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
You have an
let's
extra
see.
game in there?
Oh yeah, I do. I hit one more. I was looking at it and I thought I saw Kansas City because I was thinking, why would it be 4 games? But no,
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Well, before we get to the final game,
Sure.
former Dodger Justin Turner
Oh, yeah.
didn't really have a great series.
No.
2 hits in 11 at bats, 4 strikeouts. He didn't walk, only batted 182, but I'm sure it was nice to see him when they were there for, some of the old guys that have been with the
there
Dodgers
was
for a
at one
while.
point where he slid into second base and he and Mookie had a little, laughing and had, and I don't, he's in obviously similar colors. I think the Toronto blue is, similar to Dodger blue. I mean, if you put them together, I don't know how close, but similar. And he still doesn't look right.
Right.
He needs to be he's a Dodger, and he will always be a Dodger. I will say, though, I mean, even though he didn't have a great series against the Dodgers, he's looked really good. I mean, you look at this guy who started out with the Mets and didn't do well, really wasn't given a runway.
No,
and then,
well, he started with the Orioles.
Oh, right.
They
Start with the
traded him
Orioles.
to the Mets.
Yeah, that's
Of course,
right.
then he comes to LA, just hoping to get a job. Becomes one of the best Dodgers ever,
Right.
not only in performance but just as a person.
Yes.
And then he leaves. He ends up in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and then now in Toronto. I would like it if he decides he's going to retire to come and retire with the Dodgers. I'm sure they would.
Oh, yeah, I am sure they would. Something exciting, just as a side note for the Turners, for JT and Courtney. Courtney is expecting a baby boy. Haven't heard exactly when, but obviously sometime this year. So exciting for them.
If you're them.
If you're them,
Yeah. I don't see the excitement in that. And I don't see the excitement in this last game either when you send Michael Grove, and it's somewhat of a bullpen game or a couple of openers and then the headliner and then the late night.
Kevin Gossman starts for Toronto and he hasn't been great this season so far, but he looked really good on Sunday. He gave 7 innings, He pitched 7 innings, only 1 earned run, strikes out 5. He does and gives up 5 hits. But for the Dodgers, it's a bullpen game. But I don't understand. Ryan Yarbrough takes the bulk of the innings. Why don't you just make him a starter?
Right.
And then put in where Grove is coming. I think Grove isn't a starter. I don't think he's going to fill that role. And if they're going to make him a bullpen piece, then they need to make him a bullpen piece. And they need to make Ryan Yarbrough a starter. Because in every bullpen game, he's always the one that does the bulk of the innings. So just start him.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't get it.
You know he's going to come in and pitch a while. So
exactly
if he's going to do it. So not a lot of offense, but and part of it may have been because Will Smith got the day off.
Right.
And you have at the top, as of that Sunday game, at the top of the order, you have 4 hitters all hitting over 300. Freddie went yard in this game, and that would be the only run that they could muster.
Which, when I was watching this game, I thought it would be really nice if he hit a home run in Canada, because his parents were born and raised in Canada.
They were there.
Yeah, his dad and his stepmom were there, and his dad hadn't been back. It was like I think he said it was 35 years. You know, the last time he was there was for like his brother-in-law's wedding or something. So, you know, his mom, which I thought
his brother-in-law's wedding.
Yeah, that's what.
So did they marry his sister?
That's just what he said in the interview. I don't know. His mom.
Maybe they got a different way of talking up there in Canada. Eh?
Maybe.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know why he said it that way, but anyway, that's just how he said it.
Well, maybe
I thought
his brother-in-law was married to his sister, and then got. Maybe they got divorced. Maybe the sister passed away or something like that, and his brother-in-law is still close.
Oh, maybe
they got married again. I don't know.
Probably.
Okay, solving the world problem here on the sibling rivalry.
Trying to figure that out.
SRBB is here for you.
Did learn. Freddie Freeman's. We have known this, that his mom passed away when he was 10 from skin cancer. She had melanoma, and he has her initials in all of his cleats. And the reason you will never see him spitting on the field or cussing on the field, like his dad said, is because his mom would disapprove.
Yeah.
So it was nice when they were interviewing his dad. So I thought that was cool that Freddie hit a home run. One thing that I want to talk about in this game, Alejandro Kirk was behind the plate in this game, catching for Gosman. He goes 3 for 3 in this game, has a home run. He is a pitch framer. He does a good job of pitch framing. However, the umpire should be watching the ball, not Kirk's glove. And that seemed to happen quite a bit. By the end of this game, I was like, I am ready for a robo-ump.
Mm-hmm. You texted me as much.
And now Eric Karros, who was also on the call with Steven Nelson in Canada, said, oh, pitch framing is an art. And I think Austin Barnes, I think all catchers have that. Now, obviously, some are better. I think Austin does a pretty good job. But Alejandro Kirk, he was good, because I think he got the call the majority of the time in favor, a strike, even though it was a ball. Not saying that every strike was a ball. That's not what I'm saying. But Eric Karros says, oh, if they do a robo-ump, that takes away the art form. But is it really an art form, or is it just trickery?
It's trickery. It really is. But the thing is how gullible is the ump? The ump, and when you move it like that, it takes away from what his initial call was. He sees it and then he thinks, well, wait a minute. I gotta think back about it. And, I mean, I give it to the umpires. They have to make calls pretty quickly. It's not like you can stop and wait, think about it for a second, and then make the call.
Mm-hmm.
You need to call it pretty much immediately. But I think that having the robo umps, you're still going to need umpires behind the plate, but having the balls and strikes, and the same thing like they're talking about, it goes into an earpiece, and then they call it strike or ball, depending on that. And if the pitch, and if the only reason you have a job in Major League Baseball is because you're an awesome, not only you're a great defensive catcher, but you're a great pitch framer more than anything else, and you eventually lose your job because you just don't meet up with the rest of the game, then you shouldn't have been here anyway. Alejandro Kirk has hit the ball well in the past. He has earned his spot, but if pitch framing is his only thing, then if he's out of it, he's out of it. Oh, well, move on.
Well said. All right.
So did you have more for that game?
No, I just, before we get to where the Dodgers are going and our player of the week, I want to mention Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor has 24 strikeouts. He has 2 for 49. He has a 40 batting average, a .040 batting average. And I was like, what is wrong with him? He's come up in really big moments for the Dodgers, and he is not the same. Well, I found out that in the offseason, he decided he was going to change his swing. And that is like the dumbest thing that you can do. Why?
Yeah, why? If it ain't broke.
Why are you changing something that didn't need to be changed? We saw that with Cody Bellinger. We've seen that with others. And now, even though Chris Taylor has always been, I think, a fan favorite, he's one of those guys, he's, versatile in the field, can play different areas. Now there are calls for him to be gone. But who's going to take him if he's batting a .040?
Somebody might, just because he's proven things that maybe he just needs to get out of LA.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work for him either,
Right. You just never know. So I hope that he can get back to a swing, because that's the other thing. He changed his swing, but now he's like, oh, that wasn't a good idea. So did you forget how you used to swing? And now you can't?
Maybe because he's so focused on the change.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't know.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention that because he's always been one of my favorites, and he did something really dumb.
Well, it happens.
It does.
All right. So last night, the Dodgers wrapped up a series with Arizona, which we'll talk about next week. And then they've got Atlanta and Miami at home before they hit the road for a couple against NL West rivals, the Padres and the Giants. They've got Cincinnati coming in, and then they'll play another NL West rival, the D-backs, for their second series of the year. Let's see, that'll be the third series with the Padres.
Yeah.
All right. So who's your player of the week?
So this one, I went back and forth between two, but I decided to go with Freddie Freeman because I think seemed like he was in a slump. We talked about this before. Was something going on at home? Was something happening? Whatever it is, he seems to be back. He had 6 RBIs over the 2 series, 2 doubles, had a home run. He was 8 for 21 with the .381 batting average. So I went with Freddie.
No, that's a pretty good one. That's nice. And Freddie has come back up. He was having a hard time there, and he's back up over 300 where he belongs. So that was definitely some help there for him and for the Dodgers. I'm going to go with Pothead himself, Andy Pages, or Pages, Andy Pages, if you don't know how to properly pronounce Pages. Batting .360 over the 2 series of this last week. Couple of doubles, 1 home run, just 1 strikeout, and just, becoming a major leaguer. Got to give it to him. So he is my player of the week.
All right.
I'm kind of at a point that I think I now think everything of the silver lining when I think about the Angels. I think that's the only way to look at the Angels, is because there's not a lot of strength there consistently. It's not that things don't pop up, that players step up and have a good game. And we'll talk about one of them that had a great game in the first game of the first series we're going to talk about with the Twins and the Angels. But before we get to that, there's no reason to put it off. There's no reason to wait till the wheel to talk about this. Well, we talked last week that Anthony Rendon, actually hustling down the first baseline and having gotten better, tore his hamstring. I don't remember. I think it was the left side. But either way, he's going to be out more than the 10 days of the IL. First off, it was about a month. You never know with the hamstring how long it's going to take to get fully healed and get you back up and running. Then the other night, Mike Trout announces, actually the day after he's played a whole game, said he came out of the game at one point, not out of the game, but came in from an inning. And he felt a little weird on his knee, but it wasn't. He thought that was just a little ache. Went out there, played the rest of the game. But when he got back in, it felt a lot worse. And they said, well, let's take a look at it tomorrow. And he announced that next day, fighting back tears. I saw him getting emotional in the video, that he was going to have surgery on his knee. 4 years in a row now, Mike Trout has had an issue that will cost him a big part of the season. Now, a lot of people are saying, or the team itself is saying, he'll be back later this year. And it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but that's not the way it's worked. And last year, he broke that hamate bone in his wrist, and he came back early, and it ended up costing him the rest of the season. He wasn't ready. Hopefully he doesn't rush back here. He gets fully healthy. There's no reason for him to come back if he doesn't need to. I know he's going to try. The question will be, will Rendon try? We don't know. So now we're going to see something's been forced upon us, is that the young guys all have to play, or the side pickups all have to play. And might as well rip the Band-Aid off of this one too. Miguel Sano, who is going to take over at third base, has joined the other 2 guys on the IL as well.
Yes, he has. Yeah, it's, I don't know, Mike Trout, this is the 4th consecutive season that he has had something that has happened where he can't play a full season. And, it's a major injury because he's having surgery. And yes, they're saying it shouldn't be a season-ending surgery, but we don't know if it, because you don't know until once they open up that knee. Hopefully that's all it is. It's a torn meniscus in his left knee, and he'll be able to come back. But, he was batting .220. He had 10 home runs, 14 RBIs. He had 6 stolen bases this year, which was big because he was like, I'm going to steal bases this year. But was that the cause? Did he have a stolen base or attempted stolen base? And that's when he tore it?
Maybe.
So I don't,
never
don't know.
It's just,
and he doesn't even know.
He didn't even know. He just knew that it felt a little sore coming back in.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how this happened. I don't remember doing something. And then, because a lot of times, you do something and it's like, oh, that didn't feel good. And he said he didn't know. So I feel bad for Mike Trout. We all know what Mike Trout is capable of. He's a good player. He's loyal to a fault because he could totally be playing with another team and have already seen postseason action. And
depending on where he went, maybe even the ring already.
Exactly.
So these are the things that now we have to, but like I said, we had been seeing Joe Adell starting to pick it up. I have more to say about him in a little bit, but we saw him coming up. We saw some other players doing it. Before we get into this series with the Twins, got to talk about something that's Twins related. Number one, when we talk about players that have a problem every season, like Mike Trout's had the last few seasons, the Twins have one who actually was around to face them this series, and that's Byron Buxton, somebody else who seems to be out with injuries every single year. He'll come back for a little bit and something else will happen, and he's just not. This is a guy that should have been an MVP at some point, but he never gets enough playing time to make that happen. He doesn't qualify for anything because he's out. Anyway, something that is interesting about the Twins having a hard time to start the season off, not winning anything. And it took them being beat by the lowly White Sox for them to open up and say, we need something. And a player brought in a summer sausage, and I don't have it in front of me exactly the name of it, but it was packaged up, brought it in, and they started using that. Before they'd go to bat, they'd touch the sausage. If somebody hit a home run, they throw the sausage at them when they came in. It is worrisome for Rocco Baldelli, the manager of the Twins. He's afraid that the sausage is going to break open out of its casing and out of its packaging, and that the whole team's going to get sick from it. They're going to have hazmat suits to come in and clean it up. Experts say not that bad, but
yeah, I mean, it's pre-cooked. It's a summer sausage, but I could see where Rocco would have an issue if the casing, the plastic that's protecting it comes off, and then you just have it going between people and they're throwing it, and because they use it for their home run celebrations now. I could see where that could get kind of gross.
So they started winning, they started hitting home runs, and when I first learned about this, then they packed it up. One of the catcher, I don't remember his name. What was his name there? Ryan not Vasquez, but yeah,
Ryan
Jeffers volunteered to bring it to Anaheim. And, well, what can you say? It worked. Spoiler alert here. The Twins have won 9 in a row as of recording this. And that means that they swept the Angels over 4 games. I'm sorry, over 3 games. I don't know why I keep wanting to give everybody 4-game sets. I know. The 3-game set with the Angels over the weekend. One game wasn't so bad, 5-3. Sandoval on the hill, having another below average night. And we'll talk more about him coming up because he just pitched yesterday on the finale with the Phillies. He did go 5 2/3, but he gave up 4 runs on 9 hits, struck out 4, didn't walk anybody. So that's definitely a move in the right direction. Threw 99 pitches though, just over that 5 2/3. So he, he's just, I guess you could say he's consistent. He's not usually any worse than this, or not, right around in that same area most games.
Yeah. I want to give an update. I know this is the Angel segment, but I want to get an update on the Twins because as of right now at this recording, they have won 10.
Oh, 10. Nice.
So whatever
10 in a row. That's
magical
sausage.
summer sausage.
And they say they're going to continue to use it until they lose, which that's how streaks work. You work with it till you lose, and they'll probably lose once it breaks open out of its package and nobody wants to touch it anymore. So in this game though, Zach Neto, young guy, steps up and goes 3 for 4. He has an RBI. Nolan Shanuel, who has picked it up. He was batting really badly. He's up over 200 now. Went 1 for 3 and knocked in 2. Zach Neto had 2 doubles in the game, but overall, nothing happened. It was just a bunch of, 10 strikeouts on the day. Nobody really do anything. Even Mike Trout, who played in this game, I know we talked about him being out. Mike walked twice, but didn't provide any offense otherwise, and he's batting down around 230. So, it's hard to watch sometimes because even though he has been leading the league in home runs, he only had at the one point he had 10 home runs and 13 RBIs. That means he's hit himself in 10 times, and only 3 other times has he hit with runners in scoring position. And he's had quite a few opportunities. We talked about it last week about being up at the plate with the bases loaded and nothing. So, I'd still like to see him in there more than not, but what are you going to do? Next game, not a lot of reason to talk about because there's not a lot of good that happened there. Angels were able to score in the second, the third, and then again in the 7th, but those 5 runs didn't hold up against the 16 that the Twins were able to in the sausage fest that has become Twins baseball. Multi-hit games for all but like 3 people in the that played. Manuel Margot came in; he didn't get a hit. The left fielder Alex Kirilloff 1 hit, and Austin Martin, the center fielder, 1 hit. Everybody else 2 hits apiece at least, except for Edward Julian, who had 3 hits for them. It's just nothing. It's just
we'll just go to the next game, which really wasn't that much better.
And it was Jose Soriano who just but it wasn't just him. He gave up an inning and 2/3. He gave up 4 runs. Jose Suarez, who is like a pitching machine on a set at a low speed, straight down the middle. He gives up 3 runs over 1 1/3. And Jose Cisnero, Carson Fulmer. Carson Fulmer matched up with Jose Soriano. And then only Hunter Strickland did not give up any runs in that. So there's the silver lining in that one. Aaron Hicks, who would go on to be DFA'd right before Mike Trout ended up hurting his knee. And we'll talk about who's replacing. So Aaron Hicks is gone, and we'll talk about who signed and made his debut versus the Phillies with the Angels coming up here in a second. So really nothing else to talk about there. They wrapped things up. The Angels could grab 5. They were able to score 5, 4 in the 5th and 1 in the 7th on the Sunday matinee. But the Twins once again sausaged it out 11 runs. And it's just, and no home runs out of those 11 runs. Doubles, sacrifice flies. So nobody got a sausage tossed at them.
No,
it was.
In this game, Reed Detmers was on the mound, and that has usually bode well for the Angels, but not in this game.
5 hits on, 9 hits, 5 runs, only struck out 3. He had been striking out quite a bit more. Luis Garcia, doing his Jose Suarez impersonation out of the bullpen, gave up 4 runs on 3 hits. It was just, once again, not quality. And yeah, you're right. Reed Detmers, you hope for more. But nope. Oh, well, swept there, and not a lot to look forward to when you think about the Phillies coming in. Phillies have been playing well. They've got a winning record. They're just a game or two behind the Braves. So it's about the same as it's been the last few years in Atlanta. In the NL East, because Atlanta and Phillies have been kind of back and forth there. The Pirates, who had been on top for a while, they're now in last place again. But they've won more games than the Angels have. We'll see if that's still the case when the Angels and the Pirates meet up later in the season. The Angels would send Griffin Canning to the hill. He does get through 5 innings, but pretty standard. 4 runs given up, walked 5, struck out 1. That didn't help. 7.45 ERA. Actually, overall, the bullpen didn't let the game get away from them. And what's kind of cool is that the Angels were able to, after giving up 3 in the first inning, they picked up 2, and then they picked up another 4 innings in 6 and 7, and they walked away with a victory, 6-5. Come from behind. The Phillies tried to get it back in the 9th, scoring 1, but it was good. Good job, Joe Adell with a home run in the first inning, right behind Mike Trout. Has brought his average up to 321. They moved him up to second in the batting average. Trout, of course, had been batting first. In this game, he was batting 220, and this is actually is his last game for the foreseeable future.
Right.
So he's done. A new Angel that was called up, that had been signed to a AAA contract, Mr. Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, Cole Tucker.
Yep. He comes in, goes 1 for 3, and he'll get a lot more playing time. Adrianza, Ehire Adrianza, 2 for 4. He had in this series, he has something happen for him that had never happened before, and it was in the last game of the series, or not ever before. He got his first Angels home run, and his first home run since 2021 when he was with the Braves.
Nice.
So they played well. Overall got stayed in there, and even though they had to work hard, and Griffin Canning didn't look that great, they were able to come back and win that one 6-5, which looks good coming back against the Phillies like that. Phillies are a strong team. But next game out, kind of disappointing. The Phillies had 3 home runs. Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, and Johan Rojas, all with home runs. And they, take down the Angels. And Tyler Anderson, he does go 6 innings, only gives up 3 runs. Carlos Estevez would be the one who blew this game for him, giving up 3 runs, over 2/3 of an inning, blown save, and the loss go to him. And there was silver linings in this game to Ron Washington. Manager would say, we played well. I saw things that we wanted to see. We're moving in the right direction. And that really, that spoke well, because when you look at Ron Washington, most of the time there's some bonehead plays. There's every game something, whether it's technically an error or not.
Right.
Or somebody's a little too aggressive stealing a base. He was talking to Joe Adell. Joe Adell tried to steal second and didn't make it. end of the inning. These guys are trying to be more aggressive. The Angels are in the top 10 stolen bases, tied for 7th last time I looked, with total stolen bases. And so that says a lot about that change in philosophy. They're still just not always, doesn't seem like they're going on at the right time, or I'm not sure what, but yeah. The Phillies, like I said, would score 3 in the last frame, and then blank the Angels there in the 9th to move on. And then last game, afternoon game, got the getaway day game, and really a low scoring affair. It was 2-1, and it looked like the game was about to get away from Patrick Sandoval. The Phillies, he had 2 guys on, but he had 2 outs, was right there ready. He was, trying to get this guy out, and then a shot back up the middle. Zach Neto is playing so far over that he probably was almost on the wrong side of the bag as far as trying to shift over. And because of where he was, he heard the ball. It came right up through the box, the pitcher's mound, and he went the wrong way. Stepped to his left instead of to his right. Actually, had he just stayed where he was standing, would have gone under his glove, easy toss to second base for the force, and that would have been the end of it. No runs scored. They end up scoring 2 runs there, and that's all the Phillies needed. At that point, Sandoval was already at like 65 pitches. It's the 2nd inning. Thought for sure he was going to be gone. Zach Wheeler wasn't pitching much better either. Sandoval would end up with 102 pitches on the day, Wheeler 106. They both went 5 innings in this. So Washington let him go, and he was able to get out of there, just gave up the 2 runs, did strike out 10. So that's a good thing for Sandoval, that he got the 10 runs and or the 10 Ks. But because of that, where Zetto was playing there, and letting these guys get on base, just didn't help him. And he ended up conceivably the 2 players that he walked scored, for all purposes.
Right.
Because, he free passes came back to haunt him.
So do you think that these, like you said, whether they're, some of them are errors or not, but just not thinking, do you think that those type of plays, like with Zach Neto, are because it's a young team? Maybe.
I think some of it that plays into it, some of it, but I would think that being that they have not only Ron Washington, who is a big infield guy and a defense guy, Ryan Goins, who has really become a good infield coach, that, I think maybe they're overthinking it. Maybe they're nervous that I'm going to mess this up and then my manager's going to be mad at me, and Washington is if you're doing good, like when Sandoval came in and he was done for the day, Washington's over there talking to him, gives him the hug, and hey, you did good. But if you're not doing good, he's not going to talk to you when you come in the dugout, and then he'll come over and talk to you and say, hey, you got to watch this, like he did with Adele, like he's done with Renjifo's had some, mental errors. These guys trying to steal, but it's like you can't do it if you're not gonna. You have to make it. You have to steal the bag. And there was one today, or when was it? It was in the last game of this series that trying to who it was trying to steal second base, like Taylor Ward, and he hesitated off of first base and then went, and even with a bad throw, Real Muto got him. So that was tough. Like I said, Wheeler didn't pitch that well either. He had a hard time. He settled down. He was about through the third. He had about 2 2/3 innings, and he was in the 60s. And like I said, ended up throwing more pitches overall. The Angels threatened numerous times. Shanuel at one point at third base, Zetto at third base, 2 different times. They were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They couldn't get anybody in. Adele, who had, been looking pretty good. I noticed something with Adele. First off, 4 strikeouts today with people in running, in scoring position. He was swinging it crap. And I noticed a look on his face that I hadn't seen early in the season. He had that look of arrogance.
Oh no, it's back.
That we talked about in the past. There's nobody there to hold him accountable now, because none of these guys, when you look at the team, the newest player is the most veteran player on the team, and the Angels went out and scored Kevin Pillar. They signed him, and Kevin Pillar comes back home. He's a Southern California kid. He was playing with this kid in the backyard in the morning, and was signed by the Angels in the afternoon, and up in Anaheim, like 5 hours later. And there he is. He started the last game of the series. He's just there. There's nobody, like I said, Shanuel doesn't even have a whole year in baseball, pro baseball, let alone the Angels. Adele's been up and down all this time. Taylor Ward's probably the most senior when we think about the young guys, because he's played consistently there. Rengifo's been up there for a couple of years, but he and Adele are about the same place. Matt Thaiss isn't. Hoppy is just his this is just his first full year up. He had come up a little bit last year before he got hurt, and he was in the Orioles farm system before. Moniak, another one who was a Philly, and he's been having a hard time. Cole Tucker, I guess he's more of a veteran presence. He's been with a couple of teams, been in the minors, he's been around, but still, he's new. He just got signed. He just came up. And Adrianza, who it would be a veteran player, is another guy who's just not have any time. So nobody in there. Anthony Rendon needs to be in there, even if he's not able to play. He needs to be in there, being the veteran presence and saying things. When Mike Trout gets done with his rehab or his recovery part of the knee surgery, he needs to be in there. He needs to be vocal with them, because these guys don't have anybody. And Joe Adele, just the look on his face is like, up, here we go again. And he just loses that attitude. He was doing so well. He's still batting .290, but let's see what happens. He struck out 4 times today. And he didn't seem to care that he struck out. And he just had that look on his face like, oh, well, it's just the way it is.
Well, and I'd heard that after the Angels lost a series with the Twins, that they had another team meeting.
So I heard, but I didn't hear any details. So.
I didn't either. I just heard that they had another team meeting. I don't know.
So they get swept again by the Phillies. So they get the Twins and the Phillies both sweep them. Washington said that he liked what he saw overall, even in the losses. Today's game wasn't terrible from the standpoint that they had chances to win. They just didn't take them. Now, will that be different on a different day? We don't know.
Right. Yeah.
There's not really, you hope that like Rengifo continues to play well. He's batting over 300. He's getting more time, but he really is prone to mistakes. But when he gets hot, he's a great bat. He was 2 for 3 in that last game. Taylor Ward was 2 for 5. There just needs to be better concentration. they're really going to need these young guys to pick it up. And they need people like Adrianza who could move into a veteran presence. But this is where having a guy like Urshela would have been, re-signing him would have been perfect, because he could play third, he could play first, he could play that, and he's got a good bat, and he is truly a veteran presence. He was helpful last year with these guys.
He was, yeah.
So, what are you going to do though? That's the problem is that, you just don't know where, what, how. They're not, in moments it looks like they're right there, and hopefully what Washington sees is going to be what you need from, whatever he's seeing will be helpful, and will be proven out as we go. All right. So the Angels hit the road now, and they hit the road and head to Cleveland, where they'll play 3 there. Oh, there's where they're playing them, Pittsburgh, in this road trip. They'll get to go see Pittsburgh, and then they have the Battle of Missouri when they get back home. They've got the Royals and then the Cardinals back to back, coming in to the Big A. So do you have a player of the week?
I do, but I want to mention a player in that made his major league debut. It was in the 11-5 loss, and that is Zach Falk.
Okay.
That one, I'm not sure.
I hate to say this, but I already forgot about him because he got sent down.
He got sent down, but he did make his major league debut. But he has a story that he wants his mission. It's taken him, past 12 years he's dealt with this. He has a lifelong goal of making it to the majors. When he was 15, his dad murdered his mom outside Atlanta. And I can't even imagine what that is even like to have to go through.
Right.
But he feels like, he didn't, he allowed 2 earned runs over the 2 innings. So not a great debut, but he believes it's his mission to inspire others who've endured adversity and personal tragedy. So he wants to tell people, despite what has happened, what may have happened to you, you can still pursue your dreams. You can still make those things happen for you, despite your past. And he says, I'm here to help people, and baseball's my platform. And so I just thought I should mention that because, he's back in Salt Lake, but this is somebody, he's 26 years old, and he, made his major league debut, and but has had a lot of adversity in his life. But, congratulations on making that debut, and hopefully he'll be, he can do well in AAA and keep building up. Then
all he's got to do is stay consistent.
Yeah.
That's the thing before we get there too, to bring it up is a lot of people have been saying this on social media as well, and it's true. It's something that I always have an issue with. I don't know that Perry Manassian knows how to do his job. He claims this is how they do it in Atlanta. And it's like, well, if that's the case, how come the Angels aren't winning like that? Because they know what they're doing in Atlanta. You don't know. They didn't tell you everything. They kept things from you then.
They must have.
This is how they did it in Atlanta.
Yeah, I've never felt like he deserved the position that he's in. He just he obviously didn't learn anything in Atlanta.
Yeah, when you look at what he's done, and in the offseason, for the most part, all he did was sign relief pitchers, and those relief pitchers have been pretty much horrible.
Yeah.
Now, he couldn't have known that, but there were choices that he made. And I also got to give him a little bit of a break because I think that there's probably pitchers that he approached that said, I'm not going there.
Right.
And so, but these were some of these guys. Of course, obviously, Stevenson, I don't know if he did his due diligence and Stevenson's, and he all looked okay. And then this injury that Stevenson had came up later or what. But, that was a big misstep. But I'll give him a break there since we never saw him pitch. But there's other guys that just, they're just not doing it. Now, will they come around? Who knows? I just don't feel like it. I feel like after this first month of everything we're looking at, we're seeing that the team's already kind of fallen apart. And as what's his name? Mike, what's his name? Smith. Why can't I remember his name? Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, yes.
From ESPN said that this injury to Mike Trout is karma for re-signing or staying with the Angels. I was like, what did he do? Was it bad karma? Because I would think the loyalty would get you good karma.
Right. That's what you would think. So, I mean, I don't know. Stephen A. Smith says a lot of stuff.
Maybe he does. And usually if he talks baseball, there's no reason to listen.
Exactly.
He's a football and basketball guy.
I mean, he talked about, he's like, he went off on about obliques and then to Mike Trout and how he was just tired of hearing this and, it's karma for staying in, for, being loyal to a club that has not been, I guess, loyal to Mike Trout. But, that's really all the Angels have. I mean, if you really look at the star player, that's who you build your franchise around, and really hasn't happened for Mike Trout.
Nope. Oh, well. All right. Player of the week.
So I went with, this was hard because when you go through the box scores, there's no one that seems to be consistent in a series,
right.
That's just always at least has one hit or something. So I looked at it again and I went with Zach Neto this time. He did have one game where it was 0 for 5, but he did have a couple of games where he was 3 for 4 in the yesterday's game. He was 2 for 4, 2 for 3. So, he had a home run, had some doubles. He was batting 400. So, I mean, despite the defense,
a couple of doubles. I mean, he had a double and a single, but they were both gappers. Good hits.
Yeah. So
it came at good times.
That's who I went with, is Zach Neto.
All right. Well, I think this guy was your last week's player of the week, and I'm going to give it to him this week. Luis Rengifo, who was 9 for 19 over the last 2 series and a .473 batting average. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, only struck out 3 times, and really helped power and played well in the field overall. So, yeah. Luis Rengifo, or Geef, as they like to call him, is my player of the week. Bullpen card fired up and ready to go. We need to get a city connect for the bullpen card. I'm not sure what city we would connect it to, but
that would be, I don't know. That'd be an interesting one. What do we do? Maybe we could just put, because we both lived in a lot of different places. Maybe we could take something from each of those places.
Yeah, we could do that, I guess.
No, I don't know.
We could do, something from Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Did we do places that just you and I lived at in the same place? Or all of them?
I don't know, maybe all of them, because maybe if you're do I drive the cart? You drive the cart. I think I drive the cart.
I think we take turns.
We take turns. But, maybe because we have both lived in New Mexico. you at a very earlier time than
Right.
me. So we could do that. Yeah.
Yes, I was in eastern New Mexicoer, and you
Yes.
were central New Mexicoer, New
Yes.
Mexican.
New Mexican. Yes.
We lived in Virginia together. We lived in Kentucky together. And we lived in California together.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Missourian,
Yes.
a New Mexican, and then the places we just mentioned.
Yeah. And I lived in New Jersey, Oklahoma, and Maryland.
Right. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's get working on that. We'll have to figure out our city connect for
What's our city? Yeah, the city connects. How do we tie it all together? Well,
all right.
Tampa Bay has, I guess, tied their city connect together because it has debuted.
Well, let's talk about that in a minute. First, why don't we get to the players of the week?
All right, players of the week. Anthony Rizzo of the New York Yankees. I almost said of the Chicago Cubs. That was a while ago.
All right. Well, maybe he thinks he's with the Cubs again because he's finally, he had that concussion for most of last season.
Oh, right. That's right. 407 batting average, 1.354 OPS, and he hit 4 home runs over the week. And I believe one of them was his, is it 300? Does that seem right?
Could be.
I think it was his 3, and one of them was his 300. And then just going to Philly, Alec Boehm, 567 batting average, 1.514 OPS, and had 8 doubles over the week. So those
and
are.
And it was his 300th because he's sitting there right now. 5th home run of the season, 300th on his career.
That's what I thought. So those are the MLB players of the week.
We should have next week probably players of the month and pitchers of the month. And
relievers of the month.
Slackers of the month. And
mascot of the month.
Hot dog salesman of the month.
Yes.
So we should have all of that.
We should.
All right. What else is going on around MLB?
Well, around MLB, I think the biggest news, because we talked about jerseys at the beginning of the show, let's go ahead and talk about Tampa Bay's City Connect.
You just mentioned the City Connects are out, and people were wondering what the connection is.
What is the connection? I'm going to tell you what they think the connection is, and then we can discuss.
And then I have a question about the hat when you get there, and maybe you'll tell me as you're going through your fashion report.
All right. Okay. So City Connect Tampa Bay Rays, these are going to debut on Saturday, and they will wear them every Saturday. And they're also going to be the first team to wear them multiple times on the road.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So this uniform, what Tampa Bay wants to exude from this uniform, what they want people to see, is grit and glow. The grit is the willingness to do things differently, because they were the first ones to have a starter, is what they said. 2018.
An opener.
Yeah, an opener, not a starter. I thought that doesn't sound right. An opener. And then the glow is the vibrance of Tampa Bay.
Well, they do have, for being a dark uniform, which I guess would be the grit, they do have kind of a glow about them because they kind of have that neonish day glow kind of color stuff to it.
Yeah, it has that like, what are the colors? They're like teal and purple and kind of have, but they're like the day glow
that neon green outlining and
So it's the grit and glow, but they also wanted to showcase Tampa Bay's counterculture scenes, skating, skateboarding, the street art, street wear, tattoos, and music. So the jersey is black, but it looks like it's been faded in the sun. Tampa Bay is written across the chest. It's the first time that the city's name appears on the Rays uniform since 2007. So 17 years. The letters have skateboard grip texture, and the logo is similar to Thrasher's Magazine, which is a skateboarding magazine.
Well, I just saw too that just to go with that whole skateboarding thing, in 1978, Tampa Bay opened a skate park at St. Perry Harvey Park. It's the first public one in Florida and one of the very first in the country. Nicknamed Bro Bowl, it's part of the National Register of Historic Places.
Wow. And
there are multiple design features that pay homage to the city's skateboarding heritage.
All right. Yeah. So the hat is a combination of a ray and the Sunshine Skyway Bridge.
That's what I was going to ask about. I could see that when I saw the hat, but I didn't know what the bridge was specifically. I'm not familiar with that area.
Right.
So, but I figured it was a bridge. It's Tampa Bay, so there's got to be bridges. I know Tampa and St. Petersburg are both there. So, okay.
So there is that. And then the underside, as we have seen on jerseys from Philly and our jerseys, you know, the City Connect jerseys where they have something hidden, I guess. The underside of the cap and the jersey numbers have a texture that resembles skateboard grip tape. If you're a skateboarder, you know about that. And inside the neck and pant hip graphic includes a ray executing what is called a stale fish skateboard trick. And that is where the skateboarder grabs the back of the board. Let's call it a stale fish. The jock tag on the jersey has a pelican with 3 palm trees. And the pelican is an ode to the St. Petersburg Pelicans, who were part of the Florida State Negro League in the 1940s and 1950s. And of course, the devil, with the rays, it's a nod to the devil rays. So lots of different things
which
going on.
Which is how they
there.
started.
Right. Lots of different things on this City Connect. But I mean, I think it looks, I mean, like I said, they're going to wear it at home every Saturday, but it's also a uniform that they can wear on the road. And I think that's kind of cool. The colors seem to fit with Florida. But yeah, there are some, I mean, they're black. The hats are, the bill is purple. And then, you know, the main part is black. And then they have like a green, what's it, like the button or whatever you call it, the top. Yeah. So it's utilizing all of those different colors. So it's not bad. But I just felt like, I always feel like when you have to go into a lot of detail, then you're trying too hard.
Yeah, I think overall the look, it matches up with like something that you could buy and not feel like you know, like the New York City, the Mets City Connect. You could buy it and not necessarily even feel an allegiance to the Mets, just the city. Right. I think in this case with the Tampa Bay on there, I don't think it's not the worst, not the best. But it's not bad. It's in the top 10, I would think, from when we look at all of them. Randy Arozarena, now, of course, he, you know, is kind of contractually obligated to say something like this, said it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. He said it was beautiful.
And then Pete Fairbanks, player there in Tampa, he's into skateboarding and the whole skate culture. said he liked the design and all the things that he saw there. So the things that I hate is that there's pieces on there that, to me, it's like you want to pay honor to that group, like the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put it where it's on the tag that it's down in your pants. Sure, your pants are see-through,
Right.
so it'll come out, but that's one of those things that
Yeah, I think they could have maybe made it more, somewhat prominent, more, in it, not where it's hidden. So.
It's like having the thing, it's on the inside. Well, the Ray doing the skateboard move, the stale fish, nobody can see it.
Yeah.
So what does that matter? Little things like that. So, overall, I didn't think it was bad. Would I buy one? Probably not. I'd probably be, more likely to buy the NYC one. Although, when I first saw the hat for the Mets and the bridge, it looked okay. Then I saw it on the helmets, and I'm not really digging it.
No, not on the.
No, not on their helmets.
Yeah, I like the hats, but yeah, the helmets maybe not so much.
So we'll see once they're out wearing them, especially if they're wearing them when you're out and about. So next up, it looks like the Detroit Tigers, followed by the Guardians, and then the Cardinals. We head towards the end of the season. Also, the Blue Jays, the Twins, and the Dodgers will debut their second. And that'll make them the first team with 2 City Connect looks.
So we've seen some, I don't say brawls, but we've seen some bench clearing incidents in Major League this season. And it started with the Brewers and the Mets. Nothing really big, Rhys Hoskins calling Jeff McNeil a crybaby. And then things, they went on and played. Well, speaking of the Rays, they were in Milwaukee, and Jose Siri hit a home run off of Freddie Peralta, and I guess admired it a little too long, which this always seems to be the case. Something happens in this way, and he didn't like that. So then, a few innings later, Freddie Peralta is pitching. It's a 3-0 count and hits Jose Siri. So Siri's like, all right, takes his base. The umpires come together and they're like, wait a minute. This is a 3-0 count and you're hitting him. And they said it looked intentional. So Peralta's out of the game. Pat Murphy, the Brewers manager, out of the game. So then, later, Abner Uribe is pitching for the Brewers. Jose Siri comes up to bat. He hits a grounder to first. Hoskins tosses it to Uribe. Uribe touches the bag. And Siri doesn't even really run. I mean, kind of jogs because he's out. It's not like he's going to make it. So he gets to the bag, touches the bag. They have a little bit of a stare down. And Siri said that when he was in the on deck circle, he felt like Uribe was watching him. And then he gets to first base, goes to go back to the dugout. Words are said, and Hoskins doesn't know. He said, I didn't hear anything or really hear anything, but for all we know, they could have been, speaking in Spanish. I don't know. But something is said. Umpire comes up between the two players, and Uribe takes a swing at Siri. Umpires, yes. I'm out of here. I'm done. And poor Hoskins gets pushed. Like, he tries to come up in between them. His own pitcher pushes him to the ground. And this is, I guess, the first real brawl of the majors this year.
He
So-
really threw that pitch. I mean, that punch, not that pitch. He threw that
Yeah.
punch.
He did.
And that wasn't like, some of these where they just stand off and holler at each other. Like the
Nope.
last time that Rice Hoskins and when he and McNeil squared off,
Right.
they went to their different sides and yelled at each other.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've had a clearing of the benches, if we want to call it that, but it was phoning it in with the Dodgers and the Padres, with Profar and Will Smith. But that was oh, all right, I guess we got to go out there. This one, real deal. Punches were thrown. As I mentioned, there were suspensions. All of the players that were involved were fined. Pat Murphy was suspended for 2 games. Jose Sirius was suspended for 2 games. Originally, it was 3 games. He appealed. They took a game off. And Freddie Peralta has a 5-game suspension. And Abner Uribe has a 6-game suspension. So we'll see if those, usually the players will appeal those. So we'll see if they take a game or 2 off of those. But that's what was happening in Milwaukee.
Well, I'll tell you where there's been some special things happening, not only at their home stadium, but even on the road. The A's have been playing some pretty good baseball. They rank in like the top 10 in home runs in all of baseball. They've got more home runs. They've got like 45. No. Yeah, I think it's like 45 home runs now. It's crazy to think that, they're, how they're playing. Dodgers don't even have that many home runs.
Yeah.
So they're, as a team, they are doing well. Yesterday, they continued a win streak. They're 15-17, and have been winning some series, back-to-back series. I think I mentioned last week that they had won 3 series in a row, which they hadn't done since 2021. So 15-17 after like a 1-7 start, give or take. So they have been on it. They are ahead of the Angels by 3.5 games, and just 2 games behind the Rangers. The Mariners have come to the top of the AOS, and the Asterix still back down at the bottom. They're only 6 games out at this point, but they're 7 games out of the wild card if that was happening today. So we'll see, though. The Asterix are running through early season problems, and we've talked about that. But the A's making their last season in Oakland memorable, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah. Now, we've talked about the Rockies, and seems like there needs to be a shakeup in Denver, but they have they've done something this year that hasn't been done since 1910. And we know the Chicago White Sox opened the season with 3 wins in their first 25 games. And then you have the Marlins that have the worst record in the National League at 7-24. But the Rockies have done something. They were like, yeah, whatever. You won 3 in your first 25. Marlins 7-24. What can we do that's even worse than that? They have trailed.
Wait, let's let our pitcher pinch run.
Okay, there's that. So there's that. We're making a list. Trailing in a record 29 straight games to begin a season. On their way to a 7-22 record. They surpassed the record set by the 1910 St. Louis Browns, who trailed in their first 28 games that season. The Rockies, along with the Marlins and the White Sox right now, are on pace to lose more than 120 games. The latest loss for the Rockies was against the Marlins, and they lost yesterday 4-1. So
Wow.
it's getting bad.
I think if I was part of the Rockies or even in the minor leagues, I would be faking an injury right now so that I could end up on the wheel of IL.
All right,
Well.
the Diamondbacks, one of their pitchers, Kyle Nelson, is going to have thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. So he will be out for the rest of the season. Craig Kimbrell is listed as day-to-day with back soreness. The Rockies, Nolan Jones, who has been somewhat of a bright spot for them, is on the 10-day IL with lower back strain. Christian Javier of the Astros has a neck injury. However, he may be activated this weekend. You mentioned Miguel Sano on the 10-day IL with a knee injury. Brandon Drury is listed as day-to-day with hamstring soreness. Joe Kelly is listed as day-to-day. He tweaked his right groin while fielding a grounder. And Ryan Brazier is on the 10-day IL with calf soreness. And Kyle Hurt, we mentioned him last week. He has been transferred to the 60-day IL with a shoulder injury. I think the reason they transferred him to the 60-day is just to free up some room when they need to call up some guys from Oklahoma City.
Space.
Exactly. You mentioned Byron Buxton. He is listed as day-to-day, but he has right knee soreness. And Wade Miley is the latest in our string of pitchers that will have season-ending Tommy John surgery.
And he's considering, after everything's done, seeing how rehab goes, if he's going to come back. He's 37. Who knows?
Yeah.
Should he? I think at this point, why do that? Why put yourself through it?
Yeah. What else? Just hang it up and.
But
they can.
Different people have different drives, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep being out there playing. So,
yeah, I get
all
it.
the best to him either way. One more thing before we put a wrap on this week's show. Something interesting happened once again. Somebody playing Milwaukee. And Aaron Judge sliding into second base, nowhere near the bag or anything. It's just a regular slide. But towards the end of his slide, his hand goes up and it blocks. It actually makes contact with the ball. And Willie Adames from the Brewers is going for the double play. He's already got Judge going to first base to get Alex Verdugo. And then there's a little bit of a controversy because they're like, is that okay? Did he block that? Is there some sort of interference that we should be calling? So the umpires all got together and they thought about it. They talked about it and they said, no, it's okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. Well, after the game, something that never happens. And that's why I'm bringing it up more so than what Aaron Judge did. Because Aaron Judge came back and said, well, if you look at any of my slides, I always slide like that. This isn't a new thing. I haven't gone back and looked at any of his slides, but maybe that bears out. Maybe he just thinks he does that. But the crew chief, Andy Fletcher, said after the game, and just so you know, this wasn't going to have an impact on how this game came out. It wasn't like it was won by one run and this should be, played again. The Yankees won the game 15-5. But the crew chief there in Milwaukee said, Andy Fletcher said, yeah, we messed that one up.
What? Get your journals out. Dear diary, an MLB umpire said We
I
made a
was wrong.
mistake.
He didn't say the manager is in control of every fan that visits the stadium.
Exactly.
He wasn't, I call balls and strikes my own way, Hernandez. He actually said it wasn't reviewable, or else they would have. But after going back and seeing it, he said, yeah, we messed up. We should have called that.
It would be interesting to go back and look at Aaron Judge, because now his slide is going to be, everyone's going to be watching his slide every time.
Right. So, yeah, we should go back and see if we have time, or hopefully somebody will put it together. After he said that, I'm sure somebody out there is working hard to put together a collage of slides to see how often that is true.
Yes.
Yeah, Aaron Judge finally coming around. He's been slumping, but he's starting to pick it back up, and I can't even imagine what the Yankees are going to. Yankees have been playing pretty well overall anyway, but imagine if you've got all three of them firing: Judge, Soto, and Stanton.
Yeah.
And Volpe's coming around. Last year it was a rookie shortstop. Yeah, it's going to be in Verdugo. He's always played pretty solid.
So mention him. Yep.
And Rizzo was the player of the week. So
that's right.
I think their pitching is going to have to come around. They've got some issues there, obviously, and depending on what happens with Garrett Cole.
When will he be back? So
Well,
I mentioned last week, we are getting closer to one of our favorite times of the year, and that is the College World Series that happens in Omaha every year at Charles Schwab Field. It will be June 14th through the 24th. So we thought we'd take a quick look at who is in the top 10 right now in rankings for the Division I NCAA baseball. And we've got Texas A&M on top, then Arkansas, Tennessee, Clemson, East Carolina, Oregon State, Florida State, Kentucky, UC Irvine, and Duke. So out of that top 10, it's the one that really stood out to me, because a lot of these names are, you expect them to be there. UC Irvine, because we have talked about how I remember when I was younger watching College World Series, it was always those teams from the West Coast. And now it's the SEC taking over. So it was kind of a nice surprise to see UC Irvine there.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the number 9 spot.
See if they can hold on to that as we get closer and closer to the selection show. And it's definitely, if you don't watch college baseball regularly, this is the time to start getting into it. As we're getting into playoff time frame for the different divisions or the conferences, and then we get the regionals and the super regionals, and then Omaha. All right, that's going to put a wrap on this edition of SRBB, Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Once again, find your way to our social media pages like Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
Also find us on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. And while you're there, stop by the Fanatics link, buy up some new gear. I'm sure there's something that you need. Honestly, I hate to say this after being such a critic of it, but the Angels City Connects are actually starting to grow on.
Ah, all right.
And maybe it's because I've seen some worse ones.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, they're not as bad as I thought.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know that I'm going to get anything. I'm not going to get the hat. I still hate the hat. But the jerseys or the T-shirt, I think the T-shirt's okay.
Yeah, the lettering is pretty cool on it with the surfboard vibe going on there. Also, Mother's Day is coming up, and for that matter, as we get closer, Father's Day. So if you're thinking about Mother's Day, you need to order it now. Father's Day, you got a little bit of time. That's in June. So, pick up some some cool gear in because they always have Mother's Day uniforms or touches of that they do, and then the Father's Day. So look for that too.
And by doing that, you also help out the show. You can also, if you so choose, donate to the show through the Ko-fi link, and help us finance our trip to the AllStar Game. We would be more than happy to give you a shout out for your contribution. Maybe we can get some kind of cool trinket from the AllStar Game and send it out for thanks. We'll see, but all that's available there on the website. Once again, siblingrivalrybb.com. Next week, we'll talk some more about college. A couple things that we're working on. Hopefully they'll come through. If they don't, oh well, we'll just move on to whatever comes next. We'll see how the Angels do on the road, the Dodgers do at home, and of course more as to what's happening around baseball. So till next week, go see some live baseball. Have a great one, and don't forget to swing away.